Okay, so the question I get almost every single day is, what is the secret formula
I want you to have something. No gifts. No, I want you to have this. It's my secret formula.
to becoming an ethical hacker? And I think I get this question a lot because people think that there is some secret method that is going to give them some sort of shortcut or head start in learning to become a penetration tester or a bug bounty hunter. But in this video, I'm going to tell you all the things that I tell people every single time I get this question. And I actually got this question just yesterday. Somebody asked me what is the secret path to become a penetration tester as fast as possible, and they didn't like my answer in response, and I was really shocked because this person was actually really mad with me because I didn't give them some secret formula. I gave them the same steps I give everybody, which is kind of the path I took with a few options for diversion within it. People just seem to really get upset whenever I tell them that you can't become an ethical hacker or you can't be a full-time bug bounty hunter within 3 months or even 6 months. And I think that has to do with the society we live in, that we just want things now and we want it quick. While there is no secret formula, there are a few steps that I can give you that may speed up your progression towards becoming a successful bug bounty hunter or penetration tester. But before I give you those, I think the best advice I can give you or I can give anyone else in this field is that time is going to be your greatest adversary. And this is going to be really important for you to remember because it is going to take time and it's not just going to happen overnight or within a month. So before I list out these steps, there is something I think that's going to be really helpful for you as you're starting this journey, and that is you're going to have to learn to think a little bit different. You're going to have to start to think like a programmer.
To solve each test, I had to think differently than I usually would. I know his name. As you said a long time ago, I had to open my brain to the possibilities. Boomy, you're a mad genius.
You need to understand how something was developed, how programmers think when they're trying to implement some kind of function. And the best way for you to do this is to actually learn some programming yourself and try and figure out how to make simple functions and get web applications to do similar things. And that way you know how things work. There is a reason that black hat hackers always go for source code first. If you have the source code, then you know exactly how the target application works and functions, and then you can exploit it because you know exactly how it works and what the developers miss. The better you are at developing and understanding how developers think, the better you're going to be at exploiting whatever it is that you're targeting. And this method of thinking really dawned on me a few years ago. I asked one of my friends who really is truly, by every definition of the word, a genius. At 17, he invented a piece of farm equipment, and then he invented some surgical equipment as well as some chiropractic equipment. And I asked him, how are you always coming up with these new ideas? And he said, everything I look at, I just think, how can I do it better or how can I do it differently?
Thing sucks.
And this is going to have to be your mindset. Whenever you're looking at a target, you need to be thinking, how can I do this differently? Or how could I have done this better? And in order to do that, you need to know how it functions so that you can exploit it. And the sooner you start thinking like this, the better off you will be. Okay, so now it's time to give you some specifics. So number one, the first thing I would say is to learn HTML and CSS and a little bit of JavaScript. Or you can learn Python to a moderate level. The reason I'm giving you these two options is because I don't know exactly what you're interested in. If you're interested in web application, penetration testing, or bug bounty hunting, then you need to learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. If you're more interested in actual penetration testing, then I would say learn Python. But this is where I would say to start. You need to start with a programming language, so that way you start to understand how things function and how programmers think, and then how you can attack your specific target. And number two is to learn the basics of Linux and Windows and how the terminal works and how to move around and create directories, and look at the common files that are on all operating systems running Windows and the common files on Linux. So that way you don't have to waste your time every time you get remote code execution trying to figure out what looks different and what is not normal on that specific machine. And then number three is to learn some networking. You don't need to be a network pro. You need to understand the OSI model as well as TCP IP. So that way you understand when you're looking at Wireshark what is happening, where the packets are going, and exactly how the traffic is being sent and received. This is also going to help you in your enumeration phase once you do have remote code execution on a box. And from there, I would recommend going and learning the OS top 10, and you can start exploring web application, penetration testing. This was my particular area of interest. So I actually just went straight for web application testing because this is what I was interested in. And you can move these around depending on what you're interested in, but I would say you need to learn the OS top 10, and you can practice those on PortSwigger, and you'll be able to get a really good foundation for basic exploits there. And if you're wanting to be a penetration tester, I would say you need to root at least 50 boxes on Hack the Box before you even think about enrolling enrolling in any kind of certification. And after you've done that, you can move on to some port forwarding and some Active Directory. But all in all, really what you need to be doing is focusing on just learning IT related stuff. Nothing is going to be wasted as long as it's in the area of information technology and cybersecurity. Everything you study will be beneficial for you. And so if time is your greatest adversary and it's going to take years or at a minimum a year to get a job in cybersecurity, what should you be doing in the meantime? Because you hate your career and you really just want to change, I would say to get your foot in the door, become a security analyst. It has a very low entry point. While you're there, you'll be able to work with penetration testers and other people in the cybersecurity field, and you'll actually be able to network and ask questions. They'll be able to give you some more pointed advice as they're going to be able to answer your questions specifically. Kind of my last bit of advice, when people ask how long it takes to become an ethical hacker, just aim for the long road and just say it's going to take at least 2 years in order to be considered a pretty good penetration tester, and just use those 2 years wisely. What I do when I think about having a goal that's really far in the future, I think about it this way. I just say, okay, these 2 years are going to pass no matter what, whether I want them to or not. So what I should do for the next 2 years is aim towards this goal and spend all of my free time that I am motivated to use studying this specific topic rather than play some sort of video game or waste my time, because those 2 years are going to pass no matter what, and I'd rather be in a better position in 2 years than I am right now. Path for each one of us over those 2 years is going to be different. I don't know exactly what you're interested in, and all of us have different interests, which means you need to be focused on studying what interests you. If you're always studying what is boring to you for 2 years, you're going to lose focus. So if you find networking just to be really boring and tedious like I did, I pushed it to the back. When I was studying to become a penetration tester, I focused mostly on web applications, and then I started doing some hack the box, and I learned networking as I went. It was not something that I was interested in. I didn't really care about it, and so I pushed it off as long as I could because I thought it was boring. And I would recommend you do the same thing for whatever you find to be tedious. Is just learn the bare minimum as you're going, and you need to remember to keep it interesting because you're going to be learning this subject matter for a significant amount of time. To answer the original question, there is no secret formula to become a penetration tester. There is no secret formula to become a bug bounty hunter overnight. It just takes time. So please don't be mad at me. This is the best advice I can give you, is to remember that time is your greatest enemy. So all along the way, remember to have fun building things and breaking things. If you have any questions, please let me know down in the comments below and I'll try to get to those. Thanks for watching.